Business Now on the programme. Stephen is with us here on set. We're going to start in Washington, Stephen, aren't we? Crunch talks at the IMF. This is over Argentina.
That's right. Argentina's finance minister met Christine Lagarde at the International Monetary Fund, where they discussed help for Buenos Aires as its currency has plunged in value. Nicolás Duhovne said they made progress with a request to speed up payments from the country's $50 billion bailout agreed last June. He added that it was, though, too early to discuss figures or a time frame for when the next sped-up tranche of loans could be paid. The IMF board set to meet to discuss the request later this month.
It's about improving the terms of the agreement we signed in June to reinforce the programme. Argentina has already taken steps in recent days with the announcement of fiscal measures. We're talking with the fund about how to continue advancing so that all of the support that the international community gave to us when we closed the agreement in June can materialize into an improvement in Argentina.
Well, now the peso has somewhat stabilised since the government announced emergency austerity measures on Monday. $1 buying just under 39 pesos now. That's less than this time yesterday, but still a very weak level for the currency. Just a few months ago, the dollar was only worth around 20 pesos, so you can see the difference in the exchange rate there.
Let's come back here to France now. The government here has confirmed that it is going to press ahead. This is with changes to the income tax system here.
That's right. The Prime Minister has confirmed France will introduce pay-as-you-earn income taxation from January. The country is just one of a tiny number of developed countries that doesn't currently deduct tax from income at source. Instead, people have to pay it later. Introducing the measure has been discussed for decades. This plan has already been delayed by a year. Some economists warn the change may hurt consumer spending come January, but Prime Minister Edouard Philippe doesn't think that'll happen.
I confirm that on the 1st of January 2019, income taxes will be collected at the source, since we've been working like crazy for months to make sure that it's possible. And we have the guarantee, the certainty and the conviction that this reform will be carried out in the best conditions for taxpayers.
Well, let's check out on what's happening on the markets for you this hour. Asian shares trading in the red today. That threat of tariffs on $200 billion more of Chinese exports weighing on investors' minds yet again today. Pressure on emerging markets also starting to leak into the stock markets too. You can see the Hang Seng in Hong Kong down almost 2% there. On the currency markets, a euro will buy you just under $1.16 and just over 90 pence sterling.
Sent to Wall Street for this next story. Apple has some company, in fact, on the business rich list.
That's after Amazon became the second publicly traded company to be worth over $1 trillion. The company's share price has increased by almost 600% in the last 5 years, including a 70% surge this year alone. Ellen Gainsford has the story.
It's an American success story. Amazon is now the second US company to reach $1 trillion in market value, 4 weeks after iPhone maker Apple. Launched out of a garage in 1994, Amazon began as an online bookstore, but quickly branched out, adding products from televisions to toothpaste, later opening up an online marketplace for sellers. Along the way, the company has created popular electronic devices and award-winning films and television shows. It's recently diversified into healthcare and cloud computing, which has become a major profit driver.
Amazon is a little bit more dynamic than Apple because the iPhone has become more mature. Amazon's cloud business is an extra growth driver that Apple doesn't have.
Amazon's success has boosted the fortunes of its founder and CEO, Jeff Bezos. His 16% stake in the company is now worth around $160 billion. But not everyone will be pleased for him. In the past, Amazon has drawn the ire of US President Donald Trump. He's accused the company of tax avoidance, criticized its effect on traditional retail, and its use of the US Postal Service.
The French pharmaceutical firm Sanofi has paid $25 million to US regulators to settle bribery charges. The company is accused of making payments in several countries to healthcare providers and government officials in order to win contracts. Sanofi neither confirms or admits or denies the allegations being made by the US Securities and Exchange Commission.
Some trade talks to talk about now. They're set to resume. This is between the US and Canada later.
No, Ottawa is apparently going into these negotiations determined not to back down on key issues. Officials telling the Reuters news agency that the Canadian government wasn't in a hurry and that a deal would take as long as necessary. They're trying to secure a trade agreement to replace NAFTA. That was the deal agreed in 1994. Washington has already secured an alternative deal with Mexico.
And finally from Stephen, the grape harvesting season for wine has begun here in France. It's even begun, though, hasn't it, here in Paris, really?
Yes, well, there's the vineyard in Montmartre, which a lot of people might have heard of before, but there are actually a few vineyards around the city, and one in the 15th arrondissement in the south of the city actually asked for volunteers to come and help pick the grapes this year. People saying they find it a great way to disconnect from city life. Now, the vineyard only produces around 250 bottles of wine a year. Most of those are kept by the city of Paris because they own the vineyards. There are a few bottles that go on sale, though, at the end of September. Clos de Morillon is the name to look for if you fancy to try a bit of Parisian Pinot Noir. Apparently it's very sweet this year because of the weather.
OK. Well, I look forward to receiving a bottle. No doubt they'll be sending us some. Looks nice. All right, thank you very much, Stephen. Stephen with Business on France 24.